Hello, my name is Paige Miller. I teach grades 7 through 12 language arts. The dispositions I feel that I currently embrace are high expectations, respecting the diversity of others, professional conduct, curiosity, honesty, compassion, advocacy, and dedication. I hold all of my students to a high expectation of learning, behavior, and thinking. Especially in middle school, students can sometimes feel like they don't know the answer or maybe they think it's wrong. But as long as they're sharing their thinking, even if it is wrong, we can always talk about ways to correct it. I expect my students to act their age, and I always know with middle schoolers, especially 7th graders, the transition from being the big kids at the elementary to being the youngest kids in the middle school can create behavior issues. But the classroom is always a place for teaching them how to start acting so they can move up to 8th grade and eventually high school where they know how they need to act and sometimes just choose not to. So it's always good to remind them of the expectations that I have and make sure that they act accordingly. I am well versed in working in multiple districts with varying levels of diversity, from schools who don't have much diversity to schools whose entire culture is centered around the inclusion of students and parents in the community. Culture, race, gender transformation, language, I've seen all of that. I feel like through my long-term subbing positions, I've been exposed to many school cultures, and I always try to take key elements of those cultures to build on for my future assignments. Professional conduct to me means that first I'm a teacher, a mentor, and a role model. Secondly, I'm a friend to a student if they need one, somebody who they can talk to or share their problems with or, just kind of vent about whatever for the day. I always try to live by the philosophy of always be teaching. If a student doesn't know something, explain it again. If they don't know how to act in a particular setting, show them. Punish last and teach first. I am naturally a curious person, so I'm always looking for new things to learn about the classroom and education. I really like using Instagram as an outlet to join the teacher community and get different ideas about classroom management, lesson plans, etc. I also enjoy reading journals, formal articles written about education and research. I think as a teacher, it's important to always allow your curiosity to flow because it shows your students that you never stop learning and that it's important to never stop learning. Honesty is important. When preaching to students about being honest, it's important that teachers model that behavior as well, especially when it comes to knowledge. Just because I'm a teacher doesn't mean that I know everything. And so sometimes I say, that's a great question. I have no idea. Let me get back to you. Or I'll write it on the board and remind myself later to look it up. So it's good to show the students that it's okay to look things up. It's okay to not know the answer right away. Compassion is important and kind of goes along with one of my weaknesses, which is fairness. Sometimes I let my compassion impede my level of fairness that I offer. I understand all students are dealing with all the things, all the feelings, all the situations, especially high schoolers getting older and thinking about adult life and sometimes dealing with adult things. I try to be fair across the board, but I also understand that I need to have compassion for each student. Not all situations are the same. I try not to be a pushover, but at the same time, sometimes students just need that one person in their corner who understands them and gets them and doesn't expect the world from them. Advocating for students, parents, and the community is a job that I think some teachers don't think about right away, but it is important. We spend the most amount of time with these kids, so it makes us the perfect candidate to advocate for them. We know their needs, their wants, their interests, and that goes along with dedication as well. Dedication for advocating for students as well as dedication to the job. It's important to dedicate yourself to outside learning, extra research, and just, giving a little bit of that extra teacher oomph. Some dispositions I feel that I can work on, fairness, which I've talked about, and reflection. I have done a lot of different positions long term, and I feel like overall I could probably work on my reflection of those positions individually a little bit more. And I think that once I've embodied all of these dispositions and values, that will be what a professional educator looks like, and they will use those standards to kind of guide their way through their career in education. Thank you.